Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. That's just me, Victor Dragon 360, and well. The reason I'm actually upset is because no one bloody plays the brilliant game. Well, I mean, almost nobody plays the brilliant game. Only one person so far on the broadcast session, but it's really that brilliant. And I actually chose it for this tutorial on how to mod or edit any LEGO game from from Traveler's Tales. Basically, yeah, I've chosen LEGO Marvel Avengers to demonstrate it. So the only thing you'll need to pay for is coffee, because you can't need loads of patience, and if you're doing it in the middle of the night, like yeah, some people do, then yeah, you'll need to stay awake, because you will need some time to actually go through this. So what I'm going to do is first of all show you how to access the files of LEGO Marvel Avengers. If you're on Steam, then just right click the game in your games list, go to properties, click it, go to local files and click on browse local files, and that will open the location for LEGO Marvel Avengers. Yep, pretty much it. So far so good, hopefully. And yeah, the first thing you do before you edit any game, and I mean like any literally game that you come across, like not just LEGO, any game, you make a backup of all the files that you will probably edit, even the ones you probably won't edit. Just make a backup copy just in case. So that's something I already made, because I got a separate folder on my drive where I copied all the files, just like here. So yeah. Okay, so now what do we actually need to make a mod? Well, we'll need to edit the files. They are not really in a friendly state, not in friendly format, as I say. So just in case you're wondering why there is a .dat after each file in this list, or some other extension, basically what I did, I went to Tools on my taskbar. If you don't have this menu, then just press Alt, go to Tools, Folder Options, then go to the View tab, and then you have to uncheck the box Hide extension for known file types. So if you tick it, all the extensions will disappear pretty much. So if I refresh this and click OK, if I refresh this, oh, it doesn't disappear, so maybe no. Okay, hide extension for known file types, so these are unknown. Okay, so basically because I've haven't edited this in any program before, it doesn't recognize it as a known file type, but basically I have some files that will need to be edited with well-known tools, and so I just untick this box and click apply and then OK. Do it just in case, basically. Yeah. So the dead files will stay no matter what. Some other files will extensions for the files will disappear. But yeah, in order to have them all enabled, you just need to untick that box. So what do we do now? Now we need the actual tools to edit the LEGO games, and this is where I bring to you the news about this great website that Luigi Auriemma, hope I pronounced that right, probably not, but yeah. Basically this guy is a genius who made a wicked tool that allows you to unlock certain archives from certain programs, games, etc., and you just need to download it. And it has extractor and reimporter, which is really handy because for certain Lego games you really do need to have the files reimported. They don't just work otherwise. But yeah, that's all theory. Let's see what else you'll need to extract the games. If you press F3 in your internet browser, you will go to the search box, and here you will need to type in Traveler when you're on this web page. All the links are under the video. Yeah, I know my extensions are here, for God's sake. Yeah, and here we see the first thing that comes up is Travel's Tales Game Dead Files Extractor. So it extracts dead files and HDR. So as you see here, there is a DLC1.hdr. You'll be able to view the files inside this archive as well, probably. But for now, let's just concentrate on this. So you need to download this. So right click, save link as, or save as, whatever internet browser you use. Then download this as well. Again, right click, save as. And basically you will have to copy all the files. Well, you won't have to, but it's better to copy all the files into this folder with the game. So I already have them downloaded. Let's just see where they are. Extractor stuff, and here we have it. So extract for Lego TT games. Yeah, extract the stuff. I'm just going to select all of these files. By the way, this archive I'll probably include as a link under the video as well. So we just drag it into the Lego Marvel Avengers and drop them here. The extract. So now what do we have? We have several new files. The ones we actually need to worry about is quickbms.exe, the TT Games BMS, and reimport file, which is a batch file, and it basically works the same way as this but other way around, but I'll come to this later. First of all, what we need to do is we need to extract all these archives, or if you know which archive you need specifically, then just extract that archive and put it into a separate folder. So what I would do is create a separate folder such as archives, or even extracted archives, and just follow these names. So game.dat, game0.dat, blah 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 blah. So I go into this folder. Luckily for this tutorial I know exactly which archive I need, and I'm going to be using archive game0.dat. So this is the folder I'm going to do, game0.dat. So yep, and we will be extracting this archive into that folder. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we click on quickbms.exe, and when it loads, it asks us to select BMS script or plugin to use. The script is basically a program, a set of instructions that allows you to extract certain types of archives. The DAT archives from Travel Tales games can be extracted with this script. Basically, it can be called TT Games 2 or TT Games without 2. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So we double click that, then it asks us to have input archives files, which means basically we need to select the archive that we need. In this case it's game 0.dat, double click that, and now select the output folder where extracting the files. So we go into the folder that we created, extracted archive, game 0 dead. We don't change anything here, we just click save. And we grab another coffee, because this is gonna take a hell of a lot of time. Remember what I said about patience? Well, there you go. Actually, while we are doing that, let me explain a bit what's going on. So, basically, it goes through all the files in this archive. Basically, it's like a zip or RAR archive, which basically contains certain bits of files. But I'm not clicking like on anything in particular. I just maximized it in order to see what's going on, what the progress is. And yeah, so once it finishes what it's doing, we'll get some sort of message, hopefully, if it all goes right. And in case you were paying close attention to my files, you'll see that I have another little executable here, which is 4gig files.exe, and this one actually has the similar purpose. So it extracts the dead files that are over 4 gigabytes, and I'm also going to include it in the downloadable link, hopefully, under this video. But I've never ever remembered seeing file of Lego game that is over 4 gig. So the chances are you'll never need to use it. Yeah, it's still going. So yeah. Wait for it. It should give a message that it's ready. Even if it stops, it doesn't mean it's frozen, it's probably doing something. So just let it process. Coffee rolls all the way up my throat, yeah. Good coffee. Okay. I don't want to reveal beforehand what I'm actually going to change, but yeah. It's going to be pretty easy once the files are extracted, because I'll actually show you some files to give you an idea of what can be changed. And this is only one archive I'm looking at. If you wanted to, you could basically extract all these archives. Obviously you'll need more time to do that, because you'll need to do every archive separately or select them all in a batch, but yeah. I selected this particular archive because I actually know what needs to be extracted from where. So yeah, let's give it a bit more time. The files we'll actually need is txt files, so basically the text files. Almost there, hopefully. As I said, this could take as much as 7 minutes and as much as hour or over an hour, depending on how much you extract, really. So really depends on the size of information you're after. And it's going into characters now. Particular audio for the characters, I mean, because you can see the folders are audio, VO, which means probably voiceover, blah 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 blah. But yeah, again, all this is just one archive. And hopefully it's going to be over soon. Going for it. There we go. So now it says the stats about what it actually extracted and why the hell we had to wait so long. And it offers us to press return to quit. Basically, return is enter. So I press enter on the keyboard and it quits. Now the interesting bit begins. We can edit the files that we extracted. So we're going to extracted archives, the folder of the archive. Normally in LEGO games, if you want to edit the character, you go into JAWS folder. Amazing, right? And in the certain games, you can just go into the category folder, which is like minifigure folder, has minifig name, and it usually has most of the common characters, like, I don't know, Captain America. Will it have Captain America? Yeah, Captain America. And it's all in the text files. So if we open it up, say in a text editor, which is why we need sometimes to have the extensions enabled, as I said, go to tools and blah blah blah. But yeah, so if we open up the text file in your text editor, usually Notepad, we will be able to change the values of certain things, like the tiptoe speed of the character, which abilities they have, by simply deleting or entering new ones. Now, the thing to look out for is that the resulting file that we put back into the archive after we're finished with it, so basically the file that we added must be saved with no bigger file size than the file that we started with. So the resulting file must be smaller or equal to the one that we started with. And you'll be asking, but if I want to add like certain abilities, like, or add bigger values, like, so for example, if I add like tiptoe speed 99999, obviously I don't want to do that. Captain is not Flash or anything. But yeah, how am I gonna keep the file size same or less? Well, luckily we have all these comments that start with // and those can be deleted. Anything in the line after // can be deleted. So say if we added another ability with so many symbols, like say ability regeneration. By the way, I'm not even sure if this ability exists in the game. Then all we'll need to do is delete this and say this, or character ab, like, just to reduce the file size, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, we don't actually need I can't undo. Anyway, this is just an example. So yeah, we do not need to worry too much about keeping the file size the same if we don't have much to add, because we can just remove the comments afterwards. Now close the file. I'm not going to save that because I don't want to actually change anything in the character of Captain America. And now we go back. For this particular case, with Marvel Avengers Lego, you can change most of the characters by changing the template files. And I think did quite a clever job out of it, because most of the classes are now what is called the child classes. So most of the characters in the game basically have parent character, which is minifig template standard, and that's the one I am going to change in order to change everyone's I don't know, speed, for example. So let's see, tiptoe speed in game units. That's the one used if you are using a controller, but I'm a boring guy. I'm using a keyboard. I'm the classic PC gamer. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna change the walk speed to, say, not 0.5, but to 2.5. Make it 5 times as faster. Every character in the game is gonna run 5 times as faster. Now, sprint speed, what I'm gonna do is 3.4. I mean run speed. And sprint speed is gonna be, oh, I don't know, let's make it 5. Jump speed. Okay, that's the interesting bit, because the jump speed is actually the force that basically pushes you upwards, basically how strong you push away from the ground. The air gravity is minus value because it actually acts downwards. So if you know like how the forces mechanics works, like in physics, then you'll have no problem with it. So basically I'm going to increase this one slightly to make it 3 instead of 2, and the rest is kept the same. Air gravity I'm going to make slightly less, so that it's like not as pushing us towards the ground. So let's make it 3, almost twice as less. File will need to be saved. Oh, again, before we do that, let's just in case save the original file. So copy, go to Lego Marvel Avengers folder, and just paste it here for now, just in case something goes wrong, because with computers you can never be too sure. So yeah, acceleration, turn rate, you can play around and experiment with these values. I mean, like, once I played around with the scale value for Chewbacca in Star Wars. You probably saw it in the video Chewbacca on steroids, but yeah, that's what happened. Now what we're going to do after this is have a look at the whole file, overview it, and see how we can reduce the size of it, just in case, because we didn't really include much new characters, but just in case, let's just remove some comments, because they do count towards the file size. So we select the stop one. This is a text file for all standards with some exceptions characters. Delete that and go to file and save. Okay, so now we got the saved file. Now the interesting bit starts. In order to make this work in game, at the moment basically the game can't read the files from this folder. It still reads files from the archives. Good. We don't want to change that. Instead, we'll only change the archive from which we've taken the files. So we'll go to extracted archives, the archive that we changed. We select everything that we did not want and delete that. So if you change anything in these folders, then obviously don't delete them, just delete the files in them that you did not change. But yeah, at the moment I'm deleting this, hold Control, select this, and press delete on the keyboard. Yes, I want to summon Recycle Bean. Now, the characters. We didn't change any of these apart from this file in this folder. So I'm going to select all of these, then hold Ctrl on keyboard and unselect this with left mouse button. Again, press delete and click yes. Now, I don't want to change any structure of the files. I only get rid of all the stuff that we don't need to have changed in the game. We did not change any of these, or this or this. So what I'm going to do, again, select these, then hold Ctrl, select this as well, because this is the only file we really need. Press delete, and again yes. Now check again that the file is actually changed. Yep, 2.5 instead of 0.5, 3.4, yep, all seems right. So now what we need to do is put it back. How do we do that? You'll be surprised. It's actually simpler than the export process, because we simply use, instead of this file, we click on this file, reimport.bat, and it's all the same stuff. So select BMS script or plugin to use. So we navigate back to the folder where we have the script, ttgames2.bms, then we select the input archive to extract. In this case, we're not extracting from it, we're actually putting files into it, so it's the same archive, game0.dat, and now we navigate to the folder from which we need to add the files. So we go to extracted archives, and we go to the folder where we extracted the files. That's it. We don't touch anything else, we just click save. Now, this one is actually asking us to confirm whether we want to use some experimental re-importing chunk memory file. All I do is click, type Y for yes, and just let it do its job, because the experimental re-importing is just doing extra stuff, but I think it's reensuring that all the files are working as they should in the archive. So I'm not sure, to be honest, exactly what it does, but I think it's just making extra sure. So yeah, I pressed Y, I click enter, and as you can see, it's much faster at importing the files back into the archive, because there aren't any files there at the moment, because it skips basically some of the files that you deleted, which basically in my case is all the files apart from that one standard minifig file, and it basically checks that all files are in place, and yeah, hopefully it will finish quite soon. I don't think in this case it gives you a confirmation, so yeah, it just stops like this, and it does not give you confirmation. So when you see everything has stopped, and give it, I'd say, 30 seconds or so in case it does process something, but if it doesn't show anything, it doesn't change anything for more than 30 seconds, then chances are it's done and it's all imported. Yep. Way to go, buddy. Life is Strange is a great game. Yeah, so I think it's finished. So all we do, instead of pressing enter, we actually close it and test it. I mean, that's all you need to do. It might seem like a lot, if you have any questions about any stage of the process, please do not hesitate to comment under this video, and I'll do my best to help you. So at the moment I'm running the game just to see if it actually changed the files, and it should be slightly different to the last mod I made, because last time I run super fast, almost like without any limit, and jump beyond any control. Hopefully this time I changed the value a little bit less. It's going to be a bit more controlled. So okay, it loads the game, and hopefully it's all ready to go. Yes, Lego. Okay, I'm gonna skip it. Getting bored of this. Every time I have to watch it. No, I don't. I just skip it. So yeah. Let's check if it actually works. All the small figure characters should run slightly faster and jump slightly higher now. And again, obviously, if you want to change any specific characters, you've got to change their files in their folders, and you should include those, keep those folders, not delete them. Yeah, as you can see, they're slightly faster at running and slightly higher in jumping. Not too much, because I overdid it last time, but yeah.
Hey, do you have a second? Don't worry.
Let's compare it with Quicksilver. He's still faster.
Where is everyone?
Just about faster, so yeah. But he doesn't jump higher because he has his own values. And that's another thing. The template in LEGO Marvel Avengers specifically includes most characters, but not all of them, because characters like Quicksilver and several other fast-running characters have their own sets of jumping, gravity and stuff like that. Oh great, another glitch. Just a little glitchy. Oh well. Yeah, but you have to kind of keep an eye on certain characters being with separate movements, because they have their own settings in text files. Unfortunately, the only way to do that at the moment is check all the values for each character. If they have a specific value, then it overrides the template. But yeah, I think it's quite a nice little mod. So yeah, hope you liked the spamming again. What is this? Anyway, yeah, I know Quicksilver we need to run now, and thank you everyone for checking out this video. I hope you make some brilliant mods. Again, different archives contain different information like textures, animations, models, etc, etc, etc. I only showed you how to edit the text file thing, so yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what people make out of it. Good luck, and hope to see you soon. Vegan360 out.